I've worked in steel and worked in wood and stone, and looking at the space here, it's pretty grand. There's a huge stadium here and lots of open space. So I thought about it, and I liked the whole idea of the word tree. And using 1/4-inch steel, I fabricated 4 separate geometric forms that are abstractions of those letters. Well, what I like the idea of each piece being a sculpture unto itself, and the 4 of them working in unison. This is the smaller of the E, and that's the larger, and then the R, which is again reduced and abstracted. I didn't want it to be literal. I didn't want those letters to just jump out at you that like a big Sesame Street block kind of idea. The composition of the pieces is such that the geometry of them, the boldness of them, the silhouette shapes are my attempt really to try to compete with the scale of this area. This is a huge place. And also I really liked the idea of having them solid black. As the changes of the seasons go, the color is going to happen from the environment.
I grew up in this part of Indiana, and I went to ISU, and I was very fond of the neighborhoods in Terre Haute. They're very diverse neighborhoods, and they're obviously neighborhoods where working class people lived. The idea of people having simple houses and having their own house and having privacy and pride of ownership and the experience of owning a home is something that I think is much better than government housing. So I'm interested in neighborhoods that are that have common house types in them, and this is the most common house type in this neighborhood. It's from the early 20th century, and it's called an irregularly massed composite cottage. All houses that have one floor are really referred to as cottages. These house types could fit on any lot, and they could morph according to whether it was a corner lot or a middle of the block lot. And because of the irregular footprint, there was lots of individual spaces in the houses. There was always a front porch. The front room was narrow. I'm personally interested in common housing, interested in architectural typology, and interested in making something that will that children will pay attention to, that is theirs in their own neighborhood. Something that might get them to become interested in architecture or architectural typology.
So one of the things that I thought was unique about this site was that it's not a very wide space, and also that with the windows of the museum, that there needed to be a certain amount of visibility. So when they told me that this open design was more preferable, then I thought, well, that really will be perfect, because it's sort of, the sculpture is there, yet you can still see through it. The traffic, it's not going to obscure any kind of traffic, and all of this is sort of derived from aircraft architecture. I used to build model airplanes when I was a kid, so that's sort of, I kind of see these as sort of like wing-like shapes, and this piece maybe not quite as literally as maybe other ones where there are, structures that look like ribs of a wing. I guess in a way maybe more any kind of like an insect that might fly might have kind of patterns in its wings like this.
What excited me about this project was that Terre Haute was taking the initiative to put some public art in their downtown. The whole revitalization effort, the grant to the city for the trees and the lampposts and the banners and all the sort of visual interest points in the city. I think it's a big step in the right direction in terms of adding some interest and excitement to the downtown area. I come from another medium-sized Midwest town, so this feels a lot like my hometown, and the same little bit of things going on in that town too. And I love to see it happening in these Midwest towns.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
This piece is called Gatekeeper. It's the first piece for the Gateway to the Arts Corridor here in Terre Haute. Is a 304 stainless steel, and the granite is called Dakota mahogany granite. And I like to use that combination of materials. The granite tends to warm up the stainless steel, and you get some nice color combinations with the different types of granite that are available. And I think it adds a nice visual focal point that might not otherwise be there with a sort of monochromatic stainless. And it's also a couple of materials that hold up very well outdoors, long-term, minimal maintenance, minimal conservation that's needed on these pieces, because this is a fairly harsh environment. You know, it has to withstand winters and hot sun and you name it, high winds. So they're good, tough materials for outdoor application.
These particular tires are made from, these are not radial tires, these are tires that are made without the metal inside. And then the surface treatment, which is sort of decided on once the piece is made, just to be able to understand how it will work with the form, is then placed on the surface. The automobile tire has been in my work since the 80s. I began to consider public art as a way of creating sculpture. Needed a material to create, and that was sustain itself outside. So I just went back to the automobile tire, which was always there. I used discarded materials from residential to commercial and also in agricultural, using these items to make sculptural pieces. I began to clad these discarded materials with the automobile tire once I began to learn how to deconstruct it from the ready-made material that it was into a material that was useful for applying as a surface treatment for outdoor sculpture.
Public art is fascinating because it leaps beyond the walls of the museums and the galleries and becomes sort of an integral part of the hustle and bustle of the community. And I don't think we have seen a better illustration of this than the creative work of Chikaya Booker. And today we celebrate and dedicate her latest sculpture, Emanating Connections. Of Terre Haute for many, many years to come, and we thank you so much for that.